This is Training Insights, Episode 18. Hi, and welcome to Episode 18 of Training Insights. My name is Kevin McGowan. Today I'm going to be speaking with Robb Holman. Interesting guy. Not only is he a professional speaker, trainer, and coach, executive trainer, does all sorts of cool stuff like that. He's also a former professional basketball player. So if you do some Googling, you can find out a bit more about Robb. He wrote a book recently called Lead the Way, and it's all about inspiring people and having authentic relationships and being able to equip people through those relationships with the skills and knowledge necessary for their own success. So how to really inspire people and get to the core of what they are, who they want to be. So with that, let's go off to Pennsylvania. We're going to speak with Robb Holman.
And Robb Holman, welcome to Training Insights.
Kevin, great to be with you. It's a joy, and I look forward to our conversation.
Me too. I've been looking forward to this. I've been reading up on you quite a bit, so I have some very pointed and difficult questions for you, Robb.
I feel like I'm in the hot seat. I'm starting to sweat, even though it's 2 degrees below zero right now in the greater Philadelphia area.
Yeah. Well, we measure in Celsius up here, so I'm about minus 30 today, which is I think about minus 5 or minus 10 Fahrenheit, something like that. So it's pretty brutal here too. But you're in Philadelphia or the area, and you've lived there forever. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm basically born and raised right outside of the city of Philadelphia in one of the suburbs. It's called the Westchester, Pennsylvania area, about 25 miles west of Philadelphia, and been here pretty much in the area my entire life, and ever since I was a little kid. And so, I do quite a bit of traveling, but always, I'm very rooted in this area. So I've been able to unpack my bag, so to speak, quite a bit in the last quite a few years, but yet, have a chance from here to be sent out all over the place to talk about some of the things which I'm sure we'll discuss today.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ping you about first, I didn't realize this until I kind of dug deep into your website, that you were a professional basketball player.
That I was. Back in the day, as they like to say, Kevin, I played professional hoops for about 7 years. I bounced around some of the minor leagues, Atlantic Basketball Association, Eastern Basketball Alliance, United Basketball Alliance. Probably if there was an A or alliance or association attached to the last bit of anything, I probably played in that league. But no, I was a small college basketball guy that had an opportunity to live a dream and play 7 years of professional basketball until came down with a nagging injury, and I met my now wife, and it was much easier for me to hang up the high tops when I met her. So.
Yeah. It's amazing what that can do, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh. Very, very true. And I'll tell you this, too. Professional sports, for me, has had quite a bit to do with my leadership and leadership speaking, development, coaching, the values that any sport, for that matter, especially when you play on such a high level, the values that are impressed on you and rub off on you, and you can't help but pass them along to other people that you have a chance to influence. And I've been able to do just that in the last 20 years since I graduated from college, and and since age 27 pretty much when I hung up the basketball shoes. So.
Well, yeah, you definitely have, clearly an energy about you. I can hear it in your voice, and I've seen your, videos you posted online. You're very passionate. And I want to know, obviously you were passionate, when in the sports when you were younger, and now you're passionate about this. How did you transition and discover this was kind of your mission to get into leadership and coaching?
Yeah, I go back to college, and I was 21 years old, and I'm about ready to head into my senior year of college, and we're NCAA tournament bound and one of the best teams in Division III basketball at the time. And leading up to my senior year, purpose for me, Kevin, was nothing more than probably winning the next basketball game and the happiness that I felt from the victory, or, hanging out with the guys and grabbing a couple of drinks on the weekend. I mean, that was purpose for me.
Yeah.
And until I had something severe happen and something quite miraculous come out of it. And I had a tumor that was in my abdomen area for about a month and a half that went undiagnosed for about a month and a half. So I got MRIs, CAT scans. They could clearly see a mass or a tumor. They just didn't know how serious it was. They were not ruling out cancer at the time. So I got every test imaginable, probably multiple times. And I missed some of the preseason my senior year in basketball until I finally saw an ultrasound specialist at UPenn Hospital, which is, really acclaimed. And I went into this meeting, and when I got checked out this time, this meeting was very different than any other I'd ever experienced. This time when I got checked out, they said, Rob, whatever you walked in with, you no longer have. And I was like, oh, come again? I need to hear this again. What exactly are you saying? And they literally said, I cannot put words to what I'm actually trying to explain to you, but you don't have anything. It's what we would call a modern-day miracle. Well, Kevin, you better believe that after an experience like this, purpose for me started to take on a whole different meaning, shape, form. Yeah. I was asking questions coming out of this experience I've never asked before. Why am I really alive? What are my skill sets? How can I utilize these skill sets to impact other people? And slowly but surely, from age 21 on, I started to understand who I was, the skill sets I had, and the true purpose that I've been given to influence and impact people positively all over the world. And little did I know at that time, over 20 years later, I would be helping people discover, rediscover their personal purpose, and then to see that infused into the workplace.
I need a minute to absorb that, to be honest with you. That's an amazing story. It's incredible, to be quite frank. I've never been through that, and I think a lot of people don't have, luckily, I guess, in some ways, don't have to go through that experience. But then again, that also maybe takes away a certain element from your life, which is that focused you so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good point. And I think, my story may be extreme to so many, but I can't help but look at every person, every working professional, every leader for that matter. We all have wake-up calls in life. And as extreme as they may be or as subtle as they may seem, we all have them. Whether it's a fire we have to put out and how we react or respond, whether it's something physical, emotional, or a family issue that has arisen, there's a crossroads in time like that. To go in a time of self-reflection and come out of that time stronger, more purposeful, and inspired like no other time that we've ever been through. And so, again, I think we have these moments, we have these times, and we even have these seasons around us far more than we like to admit. It's whether or not we seize the moment. It's whether or not we say, okay, in light of what's happened to me, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to use this to my advantage so I can actually help other people understand who they are, why they're here, and how I can truly help maximize their ability and what they do day in and day out.
Well, perfect segue. So walk me through, I guess, a little bit how you would coach somebody on that. How do you help them find that purpose? Is it a case where they kind of usually know what it is, they're just maybe not paying it attention, or is it something that comes, like a shock to people?
Yeah. I think people know aspects of their purpose. See, purpose isn't about just a title or a role that you have and doing the best job you possibly can, even have some goals surrounding some things you want to accomplish in the next 12 months or 12 years for that matter. Mm-hmm. Purpose supersedes goals and accomplishments. Purpose is so deep, it's so great, that words can't even adequately describe it. And so, I always say this, I've traveled in the Middle East a number of times. When I go to the Middle East, people ask me all the time, they want to get to know who I am, like who I am as a person, as an individual, what makes me tick. Now, interesting enough, Kevin, when I'm in the West, I'm asked this the most out of any other question. Rob, what is it that you do? So in the West here, we can oftentimes let what we do define who we are.
Right.
See, in the East, people are free to get to know one another. There's a freedom and not to be so bogged down with our titles, roles, and responsibilities. So that should be refreshing to us here in the West. Mm-hmm. So here's what I've determined. If we can go back and we can truly understand who we are as individuals, then that's going to naturally lead into why do we exist on the planet and maximizing the purpose that we've been given. So I've uncovered 5 key things to helping people understand truly who they are. One is, do you know your personal core values? The things that are deep convictions of the heart, things that you stand by, things that you stand firm in, that you're making decisions out of this place all day long and may not even realize. What are your top personal core values? Second, what are your top strengths? These are called natural talents. You know, I love Tom Rappin's StrengthsFinder 2.0. He calls them natural talents. What are the things that ever since you were a little kid come a little bit easier to you? That there's tremendous fruit coming out of this place. You're very active. There's a lot of fruit. So second is strengths. Third, what are your primary passion areas? The things that literally have you leaping out of bed in the morning in which to accomplish and to do. And fourth, what are your personal life milestones? The things on your life journey that have helped shape you to become the person you are today. It could be good things. It could be highly difficult things. It could be somewhere in the middle. But these things were oftentimes thrown at us, and during these times, stakes were put in the ground. And we knew whether in that moment or coming out of these set of circumstances that we'd never be the same. Fifth and final, what's your primary gift that you've been given in life? See, gifts aren't as much meant for us. They're actually given to us the moment that we're born, and they're not to be made for selfish gain. They're actually to be given to other people so that we're no longer on this earth. They're a legacy we leave behind on the earth. I found when we actually go back and really revisit who we are through these 5 unique and significant areas. Now, on the coattails of that, we can start asking the key question, which is, okay, in light of who I am, why is it that I truly, truly exist? That actually is different than 7.5 billion people that live on the earth today.
How do you? I'm trying to assemble a few thoughts in my head, so forgive me for a second.
Yeah, no,
obviously,
okay.
this is deep internal consideration and thought that you're talking about. And it's interesting what you raise about kind of the East-West, how in the East the communication is a lot more deep and personal maybe than kind of the surface stuff we get here in the Western, at least in North America. How do you kind of penetrate, or how do you kind of bridge that gap with people who aren't used to communicating that way and aren't used to even really thinking or discussing that about themselves?
Yeah. I think it's all about building and fostering trust. See, if we don't have trust with people, we don't have anything. Everything's built on trust. So for me, I go back and I was like, all right, how can we build trust and then foster it? And I really believe it begins with truly owning your story. Every person has a story. You know, I'll be very practical with it. Every time that I meet someone, I love to spend, the temptation's there for all of us. You know, let's say it's a networking meeting in business and it's a prospect, a potential business partner, whatever the case may be. The temptation is to dive into business. How's your business doing? How's it going? How can I potentially serve you? How can you serve me? All these different things. Wonderful questions.
Yeah.
However, taking the time, not biting that bait and going down that road too fast, but actually getting to know one another personally. Hey, so I'll give you a prime example. So if I'm sitting across the table, I'm grabbing a cup of coffee with someone, I'm going to say, hey, I want to get to know you. I want to get to know a little bit of your life journey. What are some of the key things in your life, personally, maybe even some professional things, that led you up doing with what you're doing today? Now there's a backdrop. Now, not only do I get to know them, it opens up conversation for them to get to know me. And we can always go back and build off of that story. So I say this, own your story. And the more that you can own your personal story, you can help others own their story. When we share our story and others share their story, that's the place where magic happens. And I'm telling you, it's just trust is built very quickly. And when trust is built quickly, now our ears are in tune, we're present with one another. And I just find that out of this place, relationships just grow, and they grow by leaps and bounds because they're built with a depth. Yeah.
That's a really fascinating insight, I think, because it's so obvious, but we don't always think about it. So it's nice to put to nail it like that. Everything is built on trust, which is built on really honesty and being honest with yourself and the people around you. People recognize that you're an honest person. I can trust you, and I'm going to throw you a project. I'm going to throw you my friendship, whatever that relationship becomes.
That's right.
that's where it all starts.
Kevin, if I could jump in again, I think one of the challenges for people, because I don't want to enter into this conversation or be about this conversation without talking about maybe the elephant in the room for most people.
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid of people getting to know them.
Yeah.
Really. Because of judgments, because of what are they going to really think if I let my hair down, so to speak. But we've got to be comfortable. Living a life to maximize our personal and professional ability, it is all about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And when we truly get comfortable and we're free in our own skin, talking about our own stories, talking about the good things, the challenges, the heartaches, the victories, everything that life brings, and the uniqueness of our story. Now, other people are going to feel that much more like, well, I can be real because they're being real with me. And, I just really find that when we start off on that personal front, that quickly equates to maximizing the professional front. And that's what I'm all about. I want people to maximize their God-given abilities, and it starts with getting to know themselves and getting to know themselves well, being comfortable and confident in their own skin. Thus, they can begin to help others do the very same thing.
That's awesome, Robb Holman. I'll leave it there because I know whenever I do an interview like this, I know I could ask 10,000 questions, but I'll stop there. I'm going to discipline myself. But I wanted to ask you, where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, two ways. One is I have a personal website. It's robbholman.com. Robb's with two B's, and then Holman, robbholman.com. And then I have a book that came out not too long ago called Lead the Way. And you can find out more information about the book, which lays out my philosophy and some of the things I'm talking about and discussing with you at leadthewaybook.com.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for the plug there. and thanks for the conversation. Very, very fascinating, very inspiring. I appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. Listen, thanks so much. I look forward to continuing the conversation at another time. We'll see you, Kevin.
And that was my conversation with Robb Holman, speaker, trainer, basketball player, survivor, and generally, frankly, a pretty cool guy. So, Robb, thank you very much for spending some time with me and then having a conversation there a couple weeks ago. And thanks to you for listening. If you'd like more on Robb, you can go to robbholman.com. Two B's, robbholman.com. And, of course, if you want to listen to more of these great episodes, you can go to Training Magazine, trainingmag.com as well. And one more website for you. If you want to know more about me, you can go to kevinmcgowan.ca. Drop me a line. Maybe you would like to be featured on a future episode of Training Insights. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you soon.